So earlier today, I talked about the fact that Donald Trump is, of course, showing the world how angry he is every time he talks to the cameras or every time he's on Truth Social. But there is a second part of that I want to talk about right now. It's not just his anger that, of course, is boiling over at this point. It's what that anger is doing to him psychologically that becomes such a great problem for him. Because what we're witnessing right now is not just an angry man who's mad that he's facing accountability. We are dealing with a man who is crumbling to dust cognitively in front of our very eyes on a daily basis. His grasp on reality, which was already tenuous at best, is completely coming untethered. See, as I've talked about a lot over the years, Donald Trump has spent a long time, many, many years, cocooning himself in this alternate reality world. It's a world where people do not criticize him. It's a world where everybody loves him and everybody supports him, and he is immune from any criminal prosecution, and everything that he does is the smartest and greatest thing ever done in history. Well, outside that bubble, we all know none of that is true. But Donald Trump hasn't had to face that because he surrounded himself with enough people to protect the cocoon. But now that he's in that courtroom, that cocoon is shredding. And he's starting to see the outside world for the first time in a long time. And he doesn't like what he sees. And that's causing him to panic. And it is, of course, creating a serious cognitive issue for him. One of the best examples, of course, is his anger about the fact that nobody's showing up to protest his trial. He wanted to see hordes of people out there, and nobody is showing up. He thought everybody loved him. He thought he could get the whole country to come out there for him. And this week he had 5 people show up. Literally 5 people on Monday is what showed up. And it got smaller throughout the week. That's it. That is a massive blow to his ego, which of course affects his mental health. A former prosecutor, Kenneth McCallion, actually spoke to Salon.com's Chauncey DeVega this week. And here's what this former prosecutor had to say about Trump's mental state. Donald Trump has been forced to partially subdue himself, which is not his natural instinct. He is not wired in such a way as to be able to remain quiet as a litany of accusations and evidence against him are presented. Donald Trump is in a different psychological space, and a much more tenuous one. Trump is presenting himself to his followers as a victim, someone being persecuted. He obviously wants the world to remember and think of him as strong and resolute and basically a good guy despite his personal issues. So that self-image and definition of himself, which has been the basis for the popularity among many millions of Americans, is now being challenged. When he's been subjected to ridicule and laughed at, that is extremely emotionally and psychologically painful to him. And we do know that at one point during jury selection last week, he was forced to sit there as they read the mean tweets and mean social media posts from potential jurors. He didn't like that at all. That was very humiliating for him. We have seen other jurors who were dismissed who go out and give interviews and laugh at him. We've seen the potential witnesses against him laughing at him in the media. They've now said they're not going to go out there in the media anymore, but he is being laughed at. He is being mocked. He's being mocked for falling asleep. He's pissed off about that. He's raging behind the scenes about that. He's mad at the courtroom sketch artist because he thinks the sketch artist is intentionally trying to make him look stupid in the pictures. So he's been raging about that, according to reports behind the scenes. Everything is driving him insane, basically. But former prosecutor McCallion continued. I think that Donald Trump is probably trying to get himself thrown into prison or in a soundproof plexiglass box in the courtroom. This would enhance the narrative of martyrdom he is promoting, which resonates with his base. Neither Trump nor most of his diehard base want to confront the stark reality that the problems they face are largely of their own making and the result of a series of terrible choices made along the way. That's the other part of this, right? Trump is out there, I'm the victim, everything bad is happening to me because crooked Joe Biden is directing it. No! You did horrible things, allegedly, and you are now facing the consequences for that. Like, that's what happened. You made decisions, allegedly, throughout your life, and now those decisions are coming back and you've got to deal with them. That's called life. It's not persecution. It's certainly not martyrdom. It's life. But I do think McCallion has a great point there when he mentions, I think Trump is trying to get himself thrown into jail. It's hard to disagree with that at this point. If Donald Trump wants his base to take this trial seriously, to actually show up and support him, what better way to do it than have to go spend a night in jail? That'll wake up a lot of his supporters, and not in a good way. So maybe that is what he's trying to do. Maybe he wants to get that last little bit of support from these people, because if he doesn't, his mental health is going to continue to decline, and that's going to be very harmful to him, not just in this trial, but in the overall presidential campaign that he is still a part of.